Welcome, and thanks for joining me. I'm Mark Widman. I serve as the Chief Compliance Officer for American Broadband. I have been involved in Lifeline for more than a decade. I trust that you won't mind spending a bit of time with me today to go through some key concepts designed to ensure that we all have a shared understanding and sense of purpose in ensuring that AMBT's participation in Lifeline and ACP, and each of us in our individual role of supporting AMBT, is in full compliance with the FCC's Lifeline and Affordable Connectivity Program rules. Today's training is meant to supplement any other training you receive to ensure that your role in ensuring compliance success is appreciated and understood. Note that the title slide says this training is for covered personnel. If you are here, you're covered. You're covered if you work for AMBT or any of our partners as an employee or as a contractor and have anything to do with our participation in the Lifeline and ACP programs. It takes all of us working together to get it right and to be sure that we can be proud of the way AMBT and all of you work hard to ensure that those who are eligible for and who need support to get and stay connected to voice, text, and broadband get their Lifeline and ACP benefits. Here is a general overview of what today's training will cover. Today we'll cover general references, an introduction to the USAC database ecosystem, Lifeline and ACP rules, household worksheets and duplicate removal, benefit transfer rules, subscriber termination and de-enrollment, third-party oversight, eligibility compliance, and reporting non-compliance. Before we dive in, I wanted to provide a quick overview of the references I used in putting together today's presentation. These include the Federal Communications Commission's Lifeline and ACP rules and orders, AMBT's compliance manual and standard operating procedures, as well as guidance from the Universal Service Administrative Company, known as USAC. The Lifeline program has been around since the 1980s. It is the FCC's universal service program designed to ensure affordable access to essential communications for all Americans. Applicants are eligible based upon income or participation in certain government programs. If the applicant's income is at or below 135% of the federal poverty guidelines. If the applicant participates in at least one of the following government programs: Medicaid, SNAP, SSI, Federal Public Housing Assistance, or Veterans and Survivors Pension Benefit. The monthly discount for Lifeline is $9.25. More on this in a minute or two. There's a one per household restriction. I'll address this in more detail a few slides down, but in a nutshell, FCC rules limit Lifeline to only one benefit per household. While you can stack both Lifeline and ACP benefits for a single household on a single service plan, what this means is that you can't have two people in a single household both claim Lifeline. Lifeline subscribers can be terminated and de-enrolled if the subscriber requests to be de-enrolled. These must be completed within 2 business days after receipt. For non-use, that is, if the subscriber doesn't use their service within 30 days, the process is different. In this situation, per FCC rules, this triggers a 15-day notice period where AMBT provides notice to a non-using subscriber, and that subscriber gets 15 days to use their service. After those 15 days, we must de-enroll them within 5 business days. If AMBT has reasonable basis to believe that a subscriber is no longer eligible for Lifeline, it must notify the subscriber of an impending termination and allow the subscriber 30 days from the notice to present proof of continued eligibility. If the subscriber fails to demonstrate eligibility by the end of the 30-day period, we must de-enroll them within 5 business days. If USAC or a TPA advises AMBT that a subscriber is receiving Lifeline service from another provider, or that more than one member of the subscriber's household is receiving Lifeline service, we must de-enroll them within 5 business days. If a subscriber doesn't respond to the annual recertification request, USAC will de-enroll them. The annual recertification of eligibility requirement is administered by USAC and the TPA, or third-party administrator. De-enrollment of a subscriber requires de-enrollment from NLAD and from any subscriber list maintained by AMBT. Now, the overview about ACP. The Affordable Connectivity Program is an FCC program that started as an emergency relief program during the pandemic based upon a bipartisan consensus that more needed to be done to ensure that low income Americans can afford broadband service and have access to devices needed to engage in remote learning. The ACP is mostly similar to Lifeline, but there are some key differences. The eligibility for ACP is also income based or program based. But unlike Lifeline, where the applicant's income must be at or below 135% of the federal poverty guidelines, applicants can qualify for ACP if their household income is at or below 200% of the federal poverty guidelines. The applicants can also qualify for ACP if they participate in the same federal programs as Lifeline. In addition, applicants are also eligible for ACP if they are in the Lifeline program, received a federal Pell Grant in the current award year, participate in the free and reduced price school lunch program or school breakfast program, or participate in the special supplemental nutritional program for women, infants, and children, commonly known as WIC or WIC. Now, ACP benefits. The ACP offers a discount of up to $30 per month toward broadband internet service for eligible households. Eligible households can also receive a one-time discount of up to $100 to purchase a laptop, desktop computer, or tablet from participating providers if they contribute more than $10 and less than $50 toward the purchase price. Smartphones are not eligible for support. More on this in a minute or two. ACP also has a one per household restriction, which is the same as the one that applies to the Lifeline program. Note that a household that is eligible for Lifeline and ACP can have one of each, from the same provider or from different providers. Eligible applicants get to choose. ACP subscribers can be terminated and de-enrolled. If the subscriber requests to be enrolled, these must be completed within 2 business days. For non-use, that is, the subscriber doesn't use their service within the last 30 days per FCC rules, this triggers a 15-day notice period, where AMBT provides notice to a non-using subscriber, and that subscriber gets 15 days to use their service. After those 15 days, we must enroll them within 5 business days. If the subscriber receives the ACP from another provider, they can't receive duplicative support. We must de-enroll the subscriber within 5 business days of notification by USAC. If AMBT has a reasonable basis to believe that a subscriber is no longer eligible for ACP, it must notify the subscriber of an impending termination and allow the subscriber 30 days from the notice to prevent proof of continued eligibility. If the subscriber fails to demonstrate eligibility by the end of the 30-day period, we must de-enroll them within 5 business days. If a subscriber doesn't respond to the annual recertification request, USAC will de-enroll the subscriber. De-enrollment of a subscriber requires de-enrollment from NLAD and from any subscriber lists maintained by AMBT. Now, although we covered it in the prior slide, I want you to see the benefit information for each program, and then we'll emphasize a few points for you. So, what benefits do subscribers get under Lifeline and the ACP? I want to point out that AMBT does not offer service in states that offer tribal discounts. So what we're talking about today is only for those non-tribal states, non-tribal areas. Subscribers receive a monthly discount of up to $9.25. The discount may apply to qualifying fixed or mobile services and can be applied to voice, broadband, or bundled services that meet minimum service standard requirements, which we won't get into today. For the ACP, there is a standard broadband services discount where ACP households can receive up to a $30 a month discount for broadband services. For device reimbursement, ACP service providers may be reimbursed up to $100 for a connected device delivered to the household, provided that the charge to such eligible household is more than $10 but less than $50 for such connected devices. Federal law defines a connected device as a laptop, desktop computer, or a tablet. Now let's talk about the Lifeline discount on the slide. It's important to add that additional funds, aside from the federal Lifeline and ACP, may be available. AMBT has many California subscribers. The state of California has its own Lifeline subsidies that subscribers can use to get bigger discounts for bigger service bundles. Now the ACP discount on the side. Lifeline and ACP benefits can be combined on the same plan, meaning a subscriber can have Lifeline and ACP at the same time on the same plan on the same device. In every state, Lifeline and ACP eligible applicants can get Lifeline on one device and ACP on another. They can get Lifeline and ACP from the same provider or from two different providers. For example, an eligible subscriber may choose to get their Lifeline discounted service from their cable company and their ACP discounted service from a wireless broadband provider like AMBT. Now, we're at a pop quiz. Training wouldn't be training without a pop quiz, or maybe two or three of them. Here's the first. Let's look at question 1. The answer is false. School lunch program enrollment can only be used as a program-based eligibility for the ACP, not Lifeline. Question 2. The answer is false. Lifeline income eligibility is at or below 135% of the federal poverty level. For ACP, it's 200%. Question 3. True. Remember, you can have multiple individual qualifying households at a single address, but use common sense and conduct checks to verify. If it looks like we have people at the same address, but the household is a small apartment, you're likely looking at the same household. For homeless shelters, for example, we look at the percentage of the housing capacity at that shelter. Because we know that this is an area where fraud can occur, we use controls so that too many applicants from the same address can't apply. Now it's time to drill down deeper into a few areas of compliance, starting with eligibility. Remember, eligibility can be income-based and program-based for both Lifeline and ACP. We don't determine eligibility for Lifeline or ACP in any state, but we have an important role to play in making sure that only accurate and legitimate information gets submitted. Garbage in often means garbage out, as in erroneous eligibility verification. If we, and that means all of us, including our enrollment representatives, contribute in any way to bad information going into that national verifier, NLAD or TPA, we will be held accountable for it. So what's involved in eligibility compliance? The process starts with eligibility verification. Applicants can start by going directly to the national verifier or getting there or to the TPA with the help of a service provider like AMBT. The national verifier and NLAD or TPA will use the applicant's information to perform the following automated checks: eligibility check, identity check, address check, duplicate subscriber check, duplicate address check, identity verification, and deceased applicant check. If any of these checks return errors, the applicant will be directed to resolve the error, typically by providing additional documentation. After an applicant is found to be eligible for Lifeline and/or the ACP using the National Verifier, the applicant must be enrolled using the National Lifeline Accountability Database, or NLAD. For California Lifeline, enrollment happens without using the NLAD, though the NLAD is later populated to facilitate the service provider reimbursement claims process. So, what can go wrong? The National Verifier and TPA have limited database access. They do not have the ability to electronically verify income or program-based eligibility for many programs. When an applicant cannot be verified electronically, submission of documentation to prove eligibility is required. We can help by screening out bad documentation and by facilitating applicants' identification of good documentation. We can also help by using common sense. For example, we will not assist with the submission of documentation that looks altered in any way or that seems to be wrong, such as a SNAP participation or an award letter that looks different from the standard issued in a particular state. The National Verifier and TPA may have problems verifying the person's identity or address. We use our own systems to screen information we get from applicants before it goes to the National Verifier. For example, we use a database to screen out non-residential addresses. We use another database to screen out dead people. Unfortunately, we need to be on guard for such things. The next area that we're going to cover is duplicates, household worksheets, and duplicate removal in particular. For both Lifeline and ACP, the rule is one per household. That is, one Lifeline and one ACP benefit is allowed per independent economic household. Household is defined as a group of people who live together and share income and expenses, even if they are not related to each other. It is The household worksheet is used to screen what we call address duplicates. You can't have applicants from the same household, but you can have applicants from different households residing at the same address. Address duplicates or having multiple households at a single address is allowed. This happens at places where multiple individuals live at a communal address, such as homeless shelters. We and other Lifeline and ACP providers rely on the National Verifier, NLAD, and TPA to screen for duplicates, but it is important that we at AMBT conduct duplicate screenings as well. Waste, fraud, and abuse are best combated with multiple layers of review. At AMBT, we scrub for duplicates at the point of enrollment with a CGM application, and we do it again at the beginning of each month when we are preparing to make reimbursement claims for the prior month. Our goal is to have 0 household duplicates within our company. If you see something that doesn't look right, please say something. More on how you go about that later in this training. The next area we're going to cover is the benefit transfer rules. This is important because benefit transfers can generate subscriber confusion and complaints. Because we don't like subscriber confusion or complaints, we aim to avoid both. The rules governing benefit transfers in ACP and Lifeline start with the same baseline. Subscribers can transfer benefits, but the ACP has limits on how often subscribers can do that. These limits do not apply to Lifeline. A subscriber can transfer the benefit to the provider of their choice, assuming that provider is qualified as a Lifeline or ACP provider, but that provider has to make the proper disclosures and collect consent. One frequent complaint that the FCC hears is where subscribers get transferred to another provider, allegedly without their consent. In those cases, the subscriber says they didn't authorize the transfer and wants to remain with AMBT, for example. Remember, you can't have multiple providers claiming the same subscriber for reimbursement. Benefit transfers are facilitated in the National Verifier and NLAD. Once completed, the provider from which the benefit was transferred no longer can claim reimbursement for the discounted service provided, and as a result, typically will disconnect the subscriber and wipe remaining service allocations. AMBT does not initiate any benefit transfer without making the required disclosures and receiving the proper consent. AMBT does not facilitate exceptions for ACP subscribers who claim to have had their benefits transferred from AMBT without their consent. In those cases, please have that subscriber call their new provider, the one they claim they didn't authorize, and have the subscriber ask that the new provider de-enroll them from ACP service. Once the other provider de-enrolls the subscriber, they can then reapply to and re-enroll with AMBT. Now, pop quiz time. Take a look. Questions 1, 2, and 3. Question 1. The answer is false. Eligibility for Lifeline is determined by the TPA in California and by USAC's National Verifier in all other states in which AMBT is a Lifeline service provider. Question 2. The answer is false. Household duplicates are not allowed in either the ACP or Lifeline. Both ACP and Lifeline allow address duplicates when a household worksheet is completed. Question 3. True. Remember that a service provider has to make the required disclosures and obtain consent before initiated benefit transfer. At AMBT, we have built that into our enrollment flow. Now, on to our final segment. Next up is the subscriber termination and de-enrollment. Subscriber terminations occur in a few ways. First, when they tell us they aren't eligible, subscribers have an ongoing duty to inform us if they become ineligible, or if they can just decide that they don't want ACP or Lifeline anymore. If this is the case, after receiving the request, we have 2 business days to terminate their service. Second, when USAC or TPA advises AMBT that a Lifeline subscriber is receiving Lifeline service from another provider, or that more than one member of the subscriber's household is receiving Lifeline service, we must de-enroll them within 5 business days. The 5 business days de-enrollment requirement also applies when USAC or a TPA advises AMBT that an ACP subscriber is receiving ACP service from another provider, or that more than one member of the subscriber's household is receiving ACP service. Third, we must terminate when we notice or have reason to believe they aren't eligible. For example, we notice they haven't used their service in 30 days and then continue not to use their service during the 15-day cure period, non-use has a specific definition. If AMBT does not assess and collect a monthly fee, which is the case, the subscriber must use the Lifeline or ACP supported service at least once every 30 days. Usage is defined as the subscriber making an outgoing call or using data, sending a text message. Received text messages are not considered usage. Purchasing minutes or data to add to the subscriber's service plan. Answering an incoming call. Calls from the subscriber's service provider or the service provider's agent or representative do not count. Responding to a direct contact from the subscriber's Lifeline ACP service provider to confirm the subscriber wants to continue receiving Lifeline ACP service. Once we determine non-use, we provide a notice of termination and 15 days to cure or use the service. If we suspect that a subscriber is ineligible for another reason, such as we notice that their information appears to be too similar to that of another subscriber, thus suggesting the presence of a household duplicate, we will provide the subscriber with 30 days to address our concerns. If they fail to do so, we de-enroll them within 5 business days. Fourth, subscribers are de-enrolled if they fail to recertify. Subscribers have to recertify once a year that they are eligible for ACP Lifeline. USAC administers recertification, and in California, the TPA handles it. We can assist by providing reminders to our subscribers that they need to recertify. Subscribers who fail to recertify are de-enrolled by USAC or the TPA. Now, third-party oversight. The FCC requires us to train and have tight control over our vendor partners in Lifeline and ACP. This includes people who work at companies providing us with software and solutions to help manage our business and compliance. It also includes everyone in the distribution channel, including and perhaps especially those of you who do the very important work of interfacing with applicants and our subscribers, making sure they understand who is eligible and who is not. We take this responsibility seriously at AMBT. We have developed a plan that includes this training, updates to all contracts, compliance certificates, and audits, all with the shared purpose of getting it right. We all benefit when we achieve full compliance. I'll now expand upon each of the elements included in the slide. Training. We're almost done today, but we'll need to collect a certificate from each of you indicating that you have attended and understood the content. All new people will receive training within 30 days of hire and before any enrollment activity. We intend to require refresher training every 6 months or as needed. Furthermore, everyone will receive training annually. Contracts. If you or your company has a contract with us, we have created a federal regulatory compliance addendum which must be executed. These addendums are required by the FCC. Compliance certificates. Each of our benefit enrollment organization distribution partners must sign a certificate of compliance with the Lifeline and ACP rules. These certificates are required by the FCC. There are a few points I want to emphasize here. First, RAD IDs are required for all distribution personnel involved, indirectly or directly, in submitting information to the National Verifier. No sharing of RAD IDs is permitted. Second point is about agent compensation. FCC rules allow our enrollment representatives and their supervisors to be paid for their work, but such payments cannot be made based upon the number of Lifeline or ACP enrollments or applications or on ACP support amounts or revenues received in connection with the ACP, including payments for connected devices. We conduct monthly audits of our enrollments. We are required to report our findings to the FCC. We hope that you are committed as we are to getting it right every time. Now, that's a good segue to our final pop quiz. Question 1, question 2, and question 3. Let's review. Question 1, false. You must complete a training certificate to finish this round of training. Since training is an ongoing process, we'll be back in touch for a refresher within 6 months. Everyone will be trained annually. Question 2, the answer is true. Remember to remind subscribers that they must do one of the following at least once in every 30-day period. Make an outgoing call or use cellular data. Send a text message. Purchase minutes or data to add to the subscriber service plan. Answer an incoming call. Calls from the subscriber service provider or the service provider's agent or representative do not count. Or respond to direct contact from AMBT to confirm the subscriber wants to continue receiving Lifeline and/or ACP service. Question 3, the answer is false. Enrollment representatives cannot be paid commissions based upon enrollments, applications, or subsidy revenue. We're not quite done yet. One more topic, and it's really important. As a trusted service provider participating in the Lifeline and ACP programs, AMBT is required to monitor for noncompliance and to report any noncompliance to the FCC monthly. We need your help. If you see something that doesn't seem or look right, say something. You can do this on an anonymous basis through our compliance hotline, or you can call or email me directly. Either way, please know that we have a no retaliation policy in place for all reporting done in good faith. I hate to close on a somber note, but I would be remiss if I didn't remind you about what is at stake here. Lifeline and ACP are important federal programs that must be safeguarded from waste, fraud, and abuse. If you violate the Lifeline or ACP rules, you may face civil and/or criminal penalties in addition to termination of your relationship with AMBT. We like you, so please plan to stay with us by staying compliant. Here's our compliance hotline information, along with the FCC and USAC whistleblower hotlines. And finally, thank you. If you have a question or comment, please contact me, as you can see here on this slide. You can also reach out to your direct supervisor, and they will provide answers for you. Thank you for all you do every day to make Lifeline and ACP and AMBT's role in these programs successful. We're all better off when we're all connected.